Okay, so let's talk about something really frustrating. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into something? You know, a job, a friendship, a big project, only to get totally burned in the end? It's just deflating. Well, today we're going to dive into this incredible story about how to survive that exact kind of injustice. And it's not about getting revenge, it's about resilience and this deep, profound trust that things will be made right. We're going to unpack this ancient pattern of behavior and, believe me, discover a timeless strategy for handling it with your integrity intact. It's such a weird, jarring feeling, isn't it? 1 minute, everything's great. You feel welcomed, you feel appreciated, and then, bam! Something shifts. There's this cold shoulder, this distance you just can't put your finger on. And you're left spinning, right? Thinking, what did I do? What changed? It's a universal human experience, and you know what? Turns out there's an ancient blueprint that explains it perfectly. And that blueprint, it comes from the book of Genesis, from this really tense family drama between a guy named Jacob and his uncle, Laban. Now, I know what you're thinking, an ancient story, but trust me, this is so much more than that. It's a powerful guide, a real playbook for understanding what's actually going on when that warmth just evaporates, and more importantly, how we can respond with real strength. All right, so let's set the scene here. We're talking about Jacob, who has spent 2 long decades living and working for his uncle Laban. And this was no happy family get-together. This was a masterclass in manipulation and exploitation. But it was also a story of incredible, almost unbelievable perseverance on Jacob's part.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. 20 years. 14 of those years were spent in hard labor just for the right to marry the women he loved. And then another 6 years on top of that, building up his own flock of animals. This wasn't a temporary gig. This was a huge chunk of his life, all spent serving a man who was systematically and knowingly taking advantage of him every step of the way.
And if you want to know just how bad it was, here's the number, 10. 10 times Laban changed Jacob's wages. Can you imagine? It's the ultimate moving of the goalposts. This wasn't just a simple mistake or a misunderstanding. Oh no, this was a deliberate, calculated pattern of deception. The whole point was to keep Jacob down, to keep him under Laban's thumb, and to make sure he never got too successful on his own.
But then, we get to the turning point. Jacob finally has enough, and he confronts Laban. And he doesn't just come with a list of grievances. No, he does something way more powerful. He points to a higher authority. He basically says, "You thought you were getting away with all this in secret, didn't you? Well, God was watching the whole time. He saw my struggle, he saw my hard work, and guess what? He's already stepped in to defend me."
So you might be wondering, why are we digging into this family drama from thousands of years ago? Well, it's because this dynamic, what we're calling the spirit of Laban, is absolutely timeless. It's a pattern that shows up again and again. So let's explore how this ancient story is actually playing out right now, in our workplaces, in our communities, and even in our personal relationships. So what is this spirit of Laban? Put simply, it's favor with an expiration date. It's that warmth, that welcome, that feeling of being included, but only as long as you're providing some kind of benefit. You think you're in a relationship, but you're actually in a transaction, and you're the one getting the short end of the stick. And this just lays it out so clearly. The Bible says Jacob noticed that Laban's countenance, his whole vibe, had changed towards him. And this is the key. While you're useful to them, it's all warmth and smiles and inclusion. But the second that benefit stops, maybe you start to become successful on your own, or you set a healthy boundary, suddenly the mask drops. The warmth is gone, and all you're left with is this cold, calculated distance. Wow. This quote from the source material just hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that slow, sinking feeling when you realize that the people you're spending the most time with, the ones you're pouring into, are actually discouraging you more than they're encouraging you. It's that feeling of being constantly chipped away at instead of being built up. That, right there, is the spirit of Laban in the 21st century. Okay, so what do you do when you recognize this pattern in your own life? What's the right move? Well, the real power of this story isn't just in spotting the problem, it's in the solution, and it's a big one. It's about taking your eyes off of getting revenge and shifting your focus to trusting in a divine payback, a divine vindication. And the source material gives us this really raw, personal, and modern example. Okay, picture this. You're preparing for a vocal performance with a partner. You've put in the time, you've done the work. And then you find out, not from them, but through the grapevine, that the whole arrangement was changed and your part was just cut. No phone call, no text, no explanation. You've just been erased. And the feeling? It's exactly what you'd think. It's confusing,
And it's deeply, deeply hurtful. It's not even about the performance anymore. It's about being shut out. It's about the disrespect. It's that awful feeling of being made to feel completely worthless.
And right here, this is the pivot point, because our natural instinct, our gut reaction, would be to blow up, right? To confront them, demand answers, fight for our spot. But the response in this story is so different. It's a conscious choice to just step back, to refuse to get into the drama, and instead to take all of it, the hurt, the confusion, the raw injustice, and just hand it over to God.
And then, look what happened. The outcome was incredible. It wasn't about getting that old part back at all. It was about God giving something so much better. The solo performance that came out of it was just divinely blessed. It was undeniable. The compliments were over the top. The validation didn't come from the people who cut the part out. It came straight from God, publicly and powerfully. It was this absolutely marvelous divine reversal of the whole situation.
And this all points to such a powerful truth, especially for those long, hard seasons of life. You know, when it feels like you're just stuck in the mud, enduring something for no good reason. The big lesson here is that your endurance is not empty. It's not for nothing. There is something truly powerful happening just beneath the surface, even when you can't see it.
You know, Jacob and Laban's story actually ends with them making a deal, a covenant, at this place they called Galeed, which means witness pile. And this gives us a really practical 3-step model for how we can move forward. Step 1, set a boundary. That's it. You draw a line in the sand and refuse to go back to that unhealthy dynamic. Step 2, commit to non-retribution. You have to let go of the need to get even. And step 3, the hardest part, you trust God with the outcome.
And this right here is the truth that makes that trust possible. Think about it. In all those years of thankless, backbreaking work, of being overlooked, undervalued, and getting basically zero encouragement from anyone, the one thing that mattered was that God was there. He was watching. He was the witness when it felt like no one else on earth was paying attention.
So here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. Those hard years are not a waste, I promise you. While the enemy is trying to tear you down, God is busy behind the scenes building up what you could call a spiritual profit for you. It's like an investment. And just like Jacob eventually left Laban a very wealthy man, there is a blessing, a vindication being stored up for you, ready to be revealed at just the right time.
And we're going to end on this powerful, simple declaration of faith. It's about letting go. Letting go of the need for revenge, letting go of needing an apology, or even recognition from other people. It's about finding this deep peace in a simple, profound truth. God sees it all, God holds it all, and I can trust Him. I will just obey. That's it. It's a powerful place to be.